Hello, Dot Hackers. Today is Easter Sunday, March 31st, and we have an unboxing video for you today. This one I was able to get with my tax returns simply because, well, I haven't bought any Dot Hack items in a long time, and I really wanted to get the new merch that dropped back in December and January. Unfortunately, that would have been too much more than I was wanting to spend, and I'm more leaning towards going back to the earliest point of Dot Hack's release and finding merchandise and content and interviews and things I can find from the 2001, 2002, 2003 era of Dot Hack. Now this here is a box of 12 magazines. Magazines from Famtisu and magazines from Comptiq, which is Computer Boutique. Now this is the very first publication of Dot Hack in any sort of media. This was back in February 2002, but this hit the shelves in bookstores and magazine racks back in 2001 on December. So we're going to take a look at that. One thing I should note that this publication here has the first chapter of the Dot Hack Legend of the Twilight manga. As you see back here, it does read from, there's some interviews as well, but it reads from right to left, obviously. So that was in here. There were more subsequent issues that had the rest of the chapters, because that was just chapter 1 of Volume 1 book, which came out later that same year in June 2002. And you have to excuse me, but I've had a cold for quite a long time right now, so my voice might sound a bit hoarse, and I might be coughing a lot throughout this video. So as you can see, all magazines all the way down. Starting with Famtisu. This is the 2009 January 30th issue. Yeah, they really package these things. Well, for those of you who don't know, back in 2009, a certain PSP Dot Hack game was coming out, Dot Hack Link. And so the articles in this magazine are going to be related to that game. And Dot Hack Link is on page 200. So we can just skip all the way over there. And there we go. Dot Hack Link. Little review, preview, interviews, character descriptions, biography. So it looks like it's only 4 pages long, starting on 200, 201, 202, and 203. Going over the game mechanics, the characters, and things like that. So next up we have, the rest of these should all be Comptiq magazines, but they are each bubble wrapped. I believe I bought the majority of these from one seller, because the listing is all very similar. Now the problem with Comptiq Magazine, unlike Famtisu, Famtisu is definitely rated for all audience. I mean, any kid or anyone can pick up these books and flip through it and be fine. Comptiq, on the other hand, most of their content can include nudity. So I'll have to be careful. I'll be flipping to the page for the Dot Hack section of this magazine off camera, just to make sure we don't find any unwanted content. So this is April 2002 issue. And on the back has an advertisement for Dot Hack, the infection game. Now, some of these have articles. some of these have the chapter of the manga. Okay, just tell me what page it's on. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Page. I am not seeing it. The cover definitely said .hack. Oh, wait. Yeah, I'm definitely not seeing it. Oh, wait, there it is. Page 112. Alrighty. So this is .hack info, which is funny because we have that domain site and we use it for a wiki. But we have a character guide, system guide, battle guide, the Dothack OVA, and the Dothack anime. And that's it. Just these 2 pages. Screenshots look pretty much like the final game. Nothing new with the anime pictures. But there we go. That's that issue. Now this is one which I'm surprised I didn't have. Comptiq Magazine has quite a couple issues that have .hack on the cover. Same thing with Famtisu. Now this is definitely one of the ones that has .hack on the cover. And I don't mean just the text. I mean the full-blown artwork. Most likely drawn by Ray Izumi. So here we have issue May 30th, or I'm sorry, May 2003. And the title is .hack Forever. And that is going to be on page. Yep. Probably need to watch where I turn here. 182. That's all the way towards the back. Actually, this is the very back of the whole thing. It has a little advertisement for the anime coming out on 4/25 for the DVD. Hey, even the DVD shows the plush, the rose quartz figure, and the poem card. But this is Legend of the Twilight manga chapter 16 up here. So it's nice to compare this chapter from the serialization on the magazine versus the chapter that appears in the volume 1 book, because sometimes there's some things changed, and also some of the manga added additional pages not seen here in the serialization. I guess they had to fluff it up to justify how many pages they had to hit or something. But here we have Zeffy doing her thing, dressing up as a chef, and then preparing food for Mr. Pushigo, and then turning him into, spoilers, a longhorn grunty. Which, if you ever played the video games, if you ever look at the grunty shadow, you'll notice that there is a longhorn grunty shadow on the ground. And that's it. And so there we have it. Next one is, now this one came with a separate book, I believe. Sometimes they have these little appendix books that you would get with the issue. I know Untitled Magazine did one before. Did that. So here we have March 2003, and this one says .hack Spring Special Book. And by that means, right here is this little book. It's got Reina, Uka, and Morel, and a chocolate grunty down here, and Shu on the back. And I have no idea which direction this reads. So let's say, I think it goes, yep, it goes from right to left, just like a manga. We got some chibi artwork here. And it looks like there's another Dothack info chapter of this book. Basically just going over stuff going on in the anime, the characters, and not sure if this is a chapter from the book. It doesn't say what chapter it is. But I'm fairly certain this is just a normal chapter. Instead of that parchment paper, you're using a Xerox photocopy type of paper. So the pages stay white, unlike the other ones which start to yellow over time. It's got that glossy feel to it. Oh, look at that. That Komion looking pretty sophisticated there for once. Not like a comical character like he usually does. Oh, look at this. They have a figure for Rena from the Rena special pack, it looks like. It looks like there's a Dothack event on 3/29, I believe, 2003, if I had to guess. And we got some episodes of the anime down here, a DVD for Dothack Sign, Dothack Radio, which is basically a Dothack podcast from way back when, with some of the hosts alternating. I believe it was usually like Black Rose doing all the main hosting gigs, but she would have special guests come on. So we got info for the video games, info for the OVAs that came with the video games, and that is it. I believe that's everything from this magazine. I don't think this one has... Yeah, this one doesn't have a chapter in the back, and I don't believe there's any pages. Why would they, since they have a whole book for it in this one? And also a CD-ROM. But yeah, there's no pages for Dothack. In this issue itself, you would have to have gotten this little spring book. Alright. Of all the ones I got today, I think that's the only one that came with a book. The rest will all be chapters at the end of the magazine. But like I said, at the moment, I'm more concerned about collecting stuff from the early 2000s than purchasing some of the current stuff that's available. Like I said, one came out back December 2023, January 2024 of this year. This has a section for Dothack info. This is October 2002. And that will be on page 182 of this issue. So I believe that's just going to be the back of the book. So we have Chapter 9 login. Got a wise man. Wise man talking to a Thamong. And let's see here. Some fan art. And that's it. So that was October 2002. Moving along. So I hope to eventually get the current stuff at some point. I just don't have to worry about it being thrown away because people are cleaning out their attics, their garages, their closets, and get rid of some 20+ year stuff they've been sitting on. This is June 2002. And the Dothack on this one is down here. It says Dothack Legend of the Twilight. On the back, it has an advertisement for the game and the OVAs. And we are looking at 166 for Dothack, which I'm guessing is just the back of the book again. Yep. So we have login number 5. Obviously these logins go in order from 1 to I forget what number, but we're not really opening these magazines up in a particular order. We're just going from the bottom of the stack that came in the shipping box. But these would definitely start following each other per chapter. And then back here, the Dothackers BBS. We got info on some of the characters from the video games and the manga anime, as well as some fan art. And I believe that's it. Yep. And then back then they had a little section for Q&A or submissions at hack@comptiq.com back then. So I thought that was pretty cool. All right, chugging along. This one is April 2003, and we have a comic for Dothack Legend of the Twilight. So I'm just going to assume it's just going to be the back. This is login number 15. Remember, this is a magazine size. This is not a manga size. A manga would probably be about this height, about this wide compared to this magazine. So you're definitely getting a bigger picture of the manga. Dothackers BBS. We have quite a bit of fan art here. And once again, going to hack@comptiq.com if you want to submit it way back when. And that was April 2003. This is interesting. On the back of this says lead project, which I believe does some of the soundtracks for Dothack. This is September 2002 with Dothack Legend of the Twilight down below. And it looks like it's a comic issue on the back. And this is login number 8. I think Legend of the Twilight may have been my first manga I've ever gotten into or purchased. I don't remember if I had any manga before Dothack. At least none that I can remember. But after this came out, I did get into many different mangas since then. Oh, it might have been Ragnarok Online. I'm not sure if that came out before or after Dothack. But I definitely remember collecting Ragnarok Online manga. And then eventually I got into light novels. The Dothack had quite a few of them by Tokyo Pop. And that was September 2002. So, if you remember your first manga, let me know. I'd be curious to know what you guys may have been reading for your first manga. I think I had a couple Gundam mangas too. Let's see here. We got February 2003. And this is... Oh, there it is down below. Dothack Legend of the Twilight again. Let's go to the back because I assume, yep, that's what we're going to be. This is login number 13. That's a pretty cool Balmond shot right there. Hair, wings, and all. So weird that from the video games, the Twilight bracelet is invisible, except unless you're in AI or if you're using data drain. But in the manga, the bracelet is a lug nut, which they make fun of in Dothack GIF if you ever watched that anime. So here we got a character that Shugo and Reki run into a couple of times, a monster, some fan art, and that was February 2003. This one has the video game and OVA advertisement on the back. Oops, did not mean to rip that. But looks like it was a wrapper and a wrapper, so couldn't be helped, I guess. This is issue May 2002, and again we are looking at Dothack Legend of the Twilight in this issue. Starting to get low on our stack here. I guess we could just move this over. This is login number 4. I want to say chapter, but that's basically a chapter. This looks like the Cherry Blossom viewing event, I think, when they met Uka, right? Okay, yeah. So there's the nomadic bones that was buried in the underneath the trees. So this is definitely when they met Uka. She does her transformation. Now, one thing if you don't know, Uka's character design is a lot different in the anime versus the manga. The rest of the characters are pretty much exactly the same, except for Uka. I guess they wanted to be more appropriate for all viewers who were viewing. Alternatively, Hotaru color changes from the manga to the anime. In the manga, Hotaru, the Wave Master, their outfit is green, and in the anime, the outfit is pink. So I'm not sure what decision that was. And this one doesn't have a Dot Hackers BBS. That's interesting. That was issue May 2002. And I am really starting to lose my voice. So we'll try to hurry up these last 2 issues here. Okay, this is March 2002, and this is pretty worn compared to the other ones. We have Dothack Legend of the Twilight again, and the advertisement for the video game. Excuse me. We have Dothack Login 2. So this one comes right after this issue, because this issue has Login 1 and this is Login 2. And considering this is February and this is March issue, that makes a lot of sense. So this picks up right after Login Chapter 1. And this one also has a Dot Hackers BBS. Let's see, there's some fan art down below. And a picture of Macanu. All right, and the last issue I have for you today is this one. Now, Comptiq Magazine also has serialization for Dothack Another Birth. Unfortunately, I did not get that issue. Simply because it's kind of pricey. At least the listings I saw at the time I purchased these guys. Right now, the Japanese yen is 66 cents American to 100 Japanese yen. This is Comptiq as well, even though it's got this silver little texture on it. December 2002, and it's got a picture of the Dot Hackers right there from Legend of Twilight. This one also has a manga chapter, number 11 in the back. But Another Birth was also serialized in these magazines. I just didn't get one. So someday I hope to get that as well. Compare the Legend of the, Dothack Another Birth, which is a light novel from Black Rose's perspective of the original games. Now remember, Legend of Twilight is a sequel after the games. But Another Birth takes place at the exact same time as the Dothack Infection, Mutation, Outbreak, Quarantine video games do. And here we have some fan art down below and some character design information. Let's see if this one has any additional chapters. Oh, they do. I found that real quick. So here we have Challenge the Dot Hackers. It's about the TV anime. They got some artwork for the TV characters. And I believe the same exact artwork is available in the DVD booklets. If you buy each anime DVD, or at least the Japanese one. I don't think the American one does. Because the American one is only 3 DVDs, whereas the Japanese one is 5 DVDs, I want to say. I don't remember. But it's interesting, they show a box for the video games down here below. I'm not sure. I think that's supposed to be the, this is volume 3 right there. I think this is supposed to be the one with the mutation and outbreak on both sides, not the Tatsuya store with the infection. So this one holds, I believe, 5 slots versus the Tatsuya one only holds 4 slots for the games, because you're supposed to put Dothack gift in here as well. We have Dothack sign characters. We have Dothack radio once again the podcast for Dothack. And I don't know for certain, but I'd have to guess that would be the voice actor of Black Rose. I could look it up later and double check with the Google Lens, Google Translator to see what this says. But I think these are also some of the casts that were on Dothack Radio. We have some DVD information, and that's it. So that concludes my listings of all these issues that have Dothack Legend of the Twilight included in the back of these issues of Comptiq Magazine. Again, there's no particular order. Once I get through all these, I'll definitely put them in order someday. But in the meantime, that's all I have for you today. Hopefully we'll find the Another Birth magazine. We'll go over that as well. And maybe someday I'll get a hold of the current Dothack merchandise from CyberConnect 2 and support them, obviously, financially. So if you haven't, go ahead, and if there's some merchandise from the CC2 International Store, definitely support CyberConnect 2 that way to help tell Bandai, hey, look, we love Dothack, please bring more. Or, keep an eye on the Dothack G Last Free Code sales that I remind everyone that there's a new listings available for the Nintendo Switch, for the PS4, and for the Steam. And if you haven't had Steam Deck as well, it's also compatible for that. But that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you the next time.